Stuff. Hello. Oh, the thing says we're live again. There
Hello.
it goes.
How are you? How was the con that you just went to?
Oh, it was good. I went to SoccerCon in Seattle and it was amazing. It was like all day, round the clock, like anime convention. It was
Yeah.
hardcore. Yeah. I feel like sometimes we were there till like 3 in the morning and other people were still there. And like I'm pretty sure it just went all day. I think you could have been there all like, well, 3 days.
It was a whole 3-day group of, so what kind of thing? Like there's a big room, right? People selling things, people dress up. Are there different themes each day? Is it just
No,
anime?
it's like there's like the floor where they're selling everything, and then there's like panels you can go to, but then you could also just like play games all day. There's a theater where you can just watch anime. They just like organize little events, and like there's a dance at night. Like every single night there was a dance. There was a band from Japan called Bandmade. They were really awesome. There's just like stuff to do, and then yeah, the cosplay. Everybody cosplays like every single day.
That
I
sounds so dreamy.
also here's a dog.
Oh.
You can hear somebody's voice, and I think he wants to know why.
Hey. Hey, puppy.
Now he's very uninterested.
Yeah. He just wanted to be on
So
camera.
yeah, he was just like, I can hear somebody up there, and now that he's up here, he's like, there's nobody up here.
Yeah. So what did you want to talk about today?
Oh, stuff. Oh, I know I had stuff to say. I think when I had like messaged you the other day, I know I was just like probably walking this boy around. And I think I was just thinking about how it's funny, like where I was trying to think about how to sort of like start trying to keep a like steady stream of posts for like a portfolio kind of thing. Because I was trying to think of like how to, with art portfolios or different things, it's like easier, but with design, it can be a little tougher because you're so much more involved with like a process than like actual stuff to make. So I was trying to think of like things to make, and I have like some like document ideas, but basically I was just thinking about how it's funny how I was thinking about how everybody has or artists have sort of an instinct to be like, it's not finished, so you can't look at it. You know what I mean? And like, oh, I'm not done. And then I was thinking how in game design really encourages you to the total opposite of that. And it's like keep showing, like if anything, show people why it's not, while it's not finished. And all those little things that like in your head people are probably gonna say stuff about or whatever. It's just like you're sort of just like going through the process. And either way you're going to get to the end of it. And it's like if it's not the way you wanted to or it's not how you wanted it to turn out, it's like still not that big of a deal, I think. But like with artists, it's like, well, it's not finished, I can't show you it. Like you're going to start judging it too soon. But I
Yeah.
think it's funny, yeah, with game design it's like you sort of just have to judge it anyway. It's like that way you just make it and then you're just done with it.
Yeah. Well, and like a lot of the times nobody ever thinks they're ever done, even games that are like published and selling. No, they're
Yeah,
always
oh yeah, exactly. And I think that's the other thing is it's like fine, like letting people into the like process too. Like it shows you like just sort of like that you
whoa.
have a process, you know what I mean? Yeah, but it's like letting people into your like creative like thing where it's like they get to sort of almost have a say in it, you know what I mean? Which I
Yeah.
think is really, yeah. It's really, I know it's really tough, but I think if anything, I'm learning from game design that definitely helps. Like I think for other mediums, it's one of those things where it's just like if anything, it's like just show people stuff, like just post stuff that's like, maybe not necessarily finished or like whatever. If, as long as you feel like it's some kind of good, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like, yeah.
So I've been having the kind of day where like I'm feeling like I'm just commenting on culture and what other people are making, and where like I don't know if I want to make films. Like I'm feeling really exhausted by having to choose something and having to produce work, and I want to feel like a useful part of this creative community, this beloved community, and I just like I don't know. What do you do on days where you don't feel pulled to one thing, where you feel like you're an imposter? And like, I don't know. I don't want to do like one kind of work. And I haven't like made any work. I've called myself so many things, but it seems like so, it's not just that I don't want to learn the skills, that I don't want to go like invest in the equipment because I could do that. I
Hmm.
just like don't know if it's gonna have the effect that I want, if I'm gonna be able to make what I want. Why should I have to be a maker? Why can't I like be a
Yeah,
why can't I help other people?
I hear you. I think, yeah, that's one of those tough things. And I was kind of thinking the same thing of like, because being around that much manga and like anime made me realize that I was like, I was way more into manga when I was younger. And I was like, oh, maybe I want to like try to formulate some of my ideas into that, you know what I mean? Into just being like some kind of like manga. And then anyway, but I kind of realized that it's like, I think you can like just do like all of them. I think it's like if you can have a specialty, then that's like good. But I feel like more often than not, people who have a specialty that like kind of just finds them. It's like they end up doing one thing for whatever reason. Like maybe they love it, maybe they just like are good at it, you know, and like don't really care, but are just good at it. But like you just find that like rhythm of always doing something. But I feel like as long as you're getting to a place where you feel good and like hitting certain goals and like maybe having something to like show other people to be like, this was my idea and I like for me, I'm just thinking like maybe it's like art or like with game making, it's like you could do art, you can do the music, you know? So if you're just a game developer looking for any game job, then like it really does help to be like, I'm gonna make a song this week. And it's
Mhm.
like maybe next week I'm not gonna ever write a song again. You know what I mean? Like I'm not even gonna look at the
Yeah.
music. I'm gonna draw a picture and it's like boom, that helped me. I feel like it can be similar with like filmmaking. It's just tougher with that one because it's like I feel like for the stuff that you're not making, you need to just be on a project of some kind just to say that you did stuff, you know? And so like I was having the same problem too with like trying to make a design portfolio. And it's like on the one hand, you can like when it's just easier to have projects where something's tangible there to show people. And it's harder when you don't. But I mean, you know, you can show like you can just get creative and show like if you had to make documents that were organizing documents then like showing those and being like this is what my Google Drive looks like and this is what my Trellos look like and
Mhm.
like you know like this is how I you know yeah and like this is what my process and you know I read this one thing that was good. It was like trying to get people that you've worked with just getting like written testimonials like signed by them and stuff. That way you just have that too to be like if all you're really doing is working in the process so you don't have something to show, it's like just finding ways of making that tangible. I've just been really lazy on doing that.
Yeah, I feel like I was thinking about this yesterday because I was thinking about mental health and creativity and like I think like my list making and like my organizational skills are like that's the way that I am creative, that I think about something from all different perspectives and I can see the big picture and the small picture, which is why I'm good at the job that I have now. But like I don't know if it brings me joy or meaning to do it for my own projects because
Hmm.
I'd have to summon all of these other things in order to make that project a reality. I would love to come on as somebody's advisor, like assistant director or whatever that job title is, and be like, hey, I see what you're trying to do. Like, here are all the ways that we can make it happen. Here are all the people we can bring in. But like, is that not creative? Like, what about the things I don't want to like do that, and then a week later be like, like you're doing it wrong because I want to do my thing. I
Yeah.
don't know. I'm just feeling really. I'm trying to figure out what brings me joy and what's going to bring me money and what's like
Oh yeah, those are sometimes two really different
because
things.
I haven't been doing any work. It hasn't been like, yeah, now I have more time in the day and I'm gonna go make a film or I'm gonna go. I haven't done that. And
Yeah.
it's not that I don't have projects that are ready that I could just do. So I'm trying to figure out what it is that's getting in my way.
Yeah. Sometimes it can just be like, especially with that when you like have them ready, sometimes it's just like I think the hardest part is just like sticking with an idea even when you sort of like lose focus on it. Because it's like stuff like this is definitely like about like passion, you know? So it's like when you lose the passion, it's like, well, what's the point, you know? But I definitely think that there's just like a balance of like you have to I think that's one of the things too is like when I'm honest with myself about what I'm doing and like why I'm doing it as far as like different projects. Like well, because like particularly I'm thinking with games, like it's like most of the stuff I do with games, none of it yet has been like I'm gonna try and make money. Because I don't think that I have the like education yet, and or experience really to pull that off. But so that makes it clear on, but that's the other thing is like when I'm working on certain projects, it's like, is this for school? Which is like still on the goal, you know, but like, is it for school? Yeah, well then it doesn't matter whether it's fun. Like at some point I'm gonna have to sit down and have to do this. You know what I mean? And it's like, do I feel inspired about it? No, and that gets really frustrating and difficult sometimes. But it's just like, but you know, it's like when it's filed in my head, it's like it doesn't matter whether it's passionate. You have to just figure it out. Like I think, and then I think it's just like a balance of those two things, and then like finding something like, okay, well, like what idea then am I passionate about today that I can like further work on, you know? And it's like I think it's a matter of like looking back at your old ideas and just seeing which ones like you know you can get further with, kind of thing.
I like that because a lot of the like routines of artist things, they've always said like you have to sit down at your desk even if you're not feeling passionate. Like you can't wait for the creative spirit to move you. You have to like sit down and show up and work.
Exactly. Yeah, it's tough, but that's what I always tell people too, and I'm terrible at that. But because especially with art, I'm like I can be a real jerk about art because with art, like I remember really being like a year when I first got to Portland, I was like, art is gonna be my thing now, and I had so many artists like examples to go off of, and like seeing how they like run their businesses, and you know, essentially off of like whether it's Etsy or they've got a bunch of different stores online somehow. But basically, just watching people do that, and like I saw how the framework, how it worked, and like how to do stuff. The thing is like when it came down to like, do I want to sit and draw all day? It's like no, and it's like really tough. Like I do like to draw when I feel like drawing, and like sometimes I can sit there and draw for like 3 hours. But like sometimes it would be as simple as like coloring stuff in. And there's art that I have sitting over there where it's like I literally need to color in like a wristband or like something, and it's just gonna sit there for a while. So I'm like, oh, I don't feel like doing that now. Like the part that was fun is done now. So I think that's just one of those things where it's like I think it's like challenging us to like, I think it's just like, you probably have your foot in a bunch of holes and then maybe eventually you get one done. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think about that a lot too.
Write it as long as you can, as long as you're every now and then pushing yourself, you know, like a little bit. And if it's feeling too terrible, then yeah, just, you know, work on something that makes you happy.
Yeah. I think about that a lot because I've always been told like pick a thing and do it, especially by you. You're like pick a thing and then finish it. And it's like, if I move from project to project, then nothing's ever going to get done. Mm-hmm. So what's the line between like following what moves you right then and finishing a thing? I don't know.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I have that problem all the time. Cause like my thing too is like, that's why I do have such a tough time with school. I think it's like the further I got into game design, and the further here in Portland, you have so many independent game makers that they're all very like, just do it yourself, you know, like you can look for a job and stuff. Like they all understand that part and they're like, yeah, totally get a job, you know, but they're also just like, do it yourself. So it's like, you're really close to wanting to do it yourself. So I'm just like, oh, I have these ideas and that ideas. But the more time I spend on that, it like completely ruins like or like it takes up time that it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, well, if I poured all of my, you know, being into this school project, I might even make something that's like super good that I could put into a portfolio or like use somehow, you know, but it's just like, I don't want to do that. You know what I mean? It's like some of the ideas I've already had to work on a few times and it's just like getting old. So it's like, yeah, it's like one of those things that's tricky. I mean, I think it just comes back to like how we were talking last time, which is just like finding ways to like work on your discipline, you know? I mean, I think it's also being patient, like with yourself. Like some projects do just take a long time. And like, that's why I think it's like just that balance of like, you need to have creative time where you're doing creative things that you feel like, it's like we were talking about with play, you know, like you want to like a part of some of it is creative play, right? Which is you doing things that just because you want to, you know, like, yeah, maybe it's not going to snag you a job or whatever, but like today I just want to like, yeah, draw a picture, write a thing, work on this project that I know isn't getting anywhere, but I just like go a little bit at it, you know, but then also having some discipline and being like, okay, like, you know, I've done a lot of play stuff. Like now I'm going to do work stuff, which is not stuff that I want to do, but I'm just going to poke at it some more and see how far I get.
Yeah. I looked at that that was you, right? Who sent me that like work play push fit thing?
Yeah, I
That
still
like
have.
I made myself a list based on that, and I'll put the link in this video. But that like I haven't done the thing, but I put on my list. Now I've like had all day and I sit at it and I look at it and I say, okay, I'm supposed to spend 30 minutes doing work, like, you know, finalizing the script. And I've like opened it and like made a couple edits, but like I haven't done it. If I like chose one thing, I could really get it ready. I could shoot it. Like I
I
don't know. I'm
mean,
trying to be like patient and kind to myself while also being like Bonnie, like cut the bullshit. Like what are you doing? Why aren't you doing the thing? Because I
yeah,
could be doing so much more. I know I have this capacity. I am not. So
it's just motivation stuff, you know? I think, well, the other thing I was realizing too, or I saw somebody that I like on Facebook that just posts a lot of like interesting stuff, I think about, you know, like capitalism and trying to upset things, like just the natural order of like creative work. They said something that, or they used a term that was like rugged individualism.
hmm.
And I was like, oh, whoa. And I started looking, like, I just started like thinking about that and like looking into it as far as like capitalism. And I think that's the other thing that's just difficult, like that we're really hard on ourselves because in capitalism, your job, whatever it is extremely set. And the motivation to do that work is pretty like straightforward. You either do it or you know you run out of money and then you die. So,
Yeah.
but with other yeah, but with other work, you know, it's tough because it's just hard to battle because the motivation has to
Fucking
come.
capitalism. Jeez.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and that's the other thing is it like upsets that like we don't have all day, you know? So like we have to do this other stuff. And then when we have our time, we're like, we only have so much of it. So when we don't get a little closer to the goal, we start to panic kind of thing. When is I think it's just like you just have to like, you know, like make the time, put yourself in a good position where you think you're gonna get your work done, like wherever that is, or like, you know, whatever like you need to do to your environment and then just like keep chipping away at it. But also what I was going to say about rugged individualism, which is like some things I just think you can't do yourself. Like even like talking like this, you know, is like something I do, but it's because I know there's somebody else that I don't want to like let down. I said I was going to do it, you know? And I've just been realizing that more and more that I think when I think about how do we like defeat capitalism and like how do we start to move away from that, it all a lot of it hinders on basically like not doing it by yourself, you know, which is tough on the other hand because you know it's tough to just like reach out to people. But that's the thing is I think we all have these goals and ideas and we start imagining the heroes who did it by completely by himself, like the guy who just made a whole game by himself, or like the person who made, you know, made a whole movie by themselves. But like those are always the minority, like statistically, like always like most, I mean like hundreds of movies get made a year and they aren't made by people who do it one by themselves, you know, they're made by like a whole crew of people. So it's
Mhm.
kind of like one of those things too. I think maybe just like reaching out more and trying to find like people who have projects that either they want to work on together, you know, and like figuring out ways that we can do that. I think because that also ups that excitement, you
Taking
know.
some notes. Yeah, like exposing yourself to people who are failing and succeeding regularly so that you realize you're somewhere on a spectrum.
Exactly.
Just taking some notes.
Yeah, I think also that's kind of why I went back to like, or going back to what I was talking about earlier, just thinking about showing people your work, like, and like whether it's finished or not as a part of that like thing, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like that way it's just like, I'm trying to get here. And then if anything, if nothing else, like some stuff starts to get apparent. Like, I think we have conversations too. It's like things become apparent. Like how we're saying where it's like, sometimes you're totally ready. You just need to do the thing, you know, and like that can be really hard. So it's like, I think, yeah, just showing people, like when you're just like showing people, they just like ask you too, like, well, where are you at now? You know, they'll like check in later, like, or how's that going? You know? And if nothing else, I feel like it just makes things more real, or like it really sets lessons down in your brain to do that, you know? Especially when you're like taking notes and like when you have when you're going in with questions ready about like when you're going in with work to show people. But I think even for like portfolios or like process, it's like the process pieces. It's like when I watch people do art now, like they show the like sketch and then they show the lines and then they show the color, you know? I think people who work more in like productive and like creative processes just have to show how they did that too, you know, which is like, here's how I brainstormed. Like, here's what, like, you know, and then that's where, you know, you have to do the work, right? Where it's like a lot of my stuff is in like notebooks. But if you wrote down in a notebook, just being like, oh, I jotted it down. Here's a picture of my notebook. Here's what I did to brainstorm. Here's like how long it, like how much time. Here's why I did that, you know? And then just put that out there, you know? And like stuff like that. Like that's the posts I'm trying to like work on now to start putting on my thing. And I want to like finish certain like documents, because that's all I really do is like document stuff.
Yeah.
But you know, I think that like just sort of adding somebody else into the mix, I think just like helps a little more, you know. And it's just one of those things too, where like I said, if you've just got somebody else, if nothing else, like put your idea out there and hear them say, oh, I like that, you know, like, oh, I like that, yeah, you know, that's a good idea, do that. Like sometimes there's so many decisions I can't make until somebody says that one thing. I'm like, oh my God, that was perfect. And if you're really lucky, they might just be like, I'll do that too. Or like, I'll write something, you know, with you. Like I can film something, or I can draw a picture. You need pictures. You know what I mean? It's like, I do art. I do the music, like something, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, I always go back to video games. It's like, I think life is just it's like, if you think about it like a game, if anybody's ever played like a role-playing game, then they know what I'm talking about, where it's like you just do these repetitive actions over and over and over again. But your stats are going up, and that's why we play the games, you know? It's not an action game. I'm not like excited by trying to stab things. I'm like clicking a button and it just happens. But I know that like while I'm playing, no matter what, little by little, these like meters are going up, and every now and then it just goes, bam, you did it, you know? Like you went up in that level. And I think it's the same thing with life. It's just less tangible, you know, but it's the same thing. It's like you just have to keep what we call it grinding in MMOs. We're just like killing, you're just killing rats for a million years, or you're like, I literally the other day I was running by trees to chop up wood so I can make bows and arrows. Anyway, I wish I could do that in real life. I should do that in real life. It'd be more badass in real life. But yeah, you know, just like chipping away at the goal and like just being like, patience is one thing, you know, but that's the other thing. It's like there's so many like other quests that you can do in life in like real life. So it's like it's the same way in the game. It's like you can go on a bunch of quests. Like if I just start walking, I can like take on all these quests, and then my quest list is like crazy long and I don't know which one I'm supposed to do. But every now and then I can be like, this one, I'm gonna focus on this one, and eventually they're just done. And when they're done, I get a bunch of experience and I get a bunch of like stuff. But I think in real life, the stuff is up or down. But the experience
is so simple. I'll just do this one quest. I'm just going to focus on this and get a lot out of it, and then go on the next quest, and then I'll die at the end of the game.
Yeah, exactly. But when you die at the end of the game, that's what's cool about like life is you die at the end of the game, and then like people will talk about your stats and your experience points, and they're you know, they lived their whole life and they were a level 31 Marauder or whatever. Had access.
I want to be a 31 Marauder.
You do.
I do. I really do.
You know, I don't know. Do you like axes? That's pretty much it. You go axing people up. In Final Fantasy, I was a Marauder, so I spent my time axing people, and in my other time, when I wasn't killing people, I was cooking things. And those don't help each other out at all. It's like was just this really funny character. She was like giant and like. And one thing had all this armor, and then if I switched my outfits to a cook, she just had a regular like little cook outfit. It was like
that's so cool.
Yeah, but as a cook, it was funnier because she was giant. So, well, that was my bad.
A chef axe builder. I'm trying to find my script, which I'm not happy with.
Honestly, if it makes you feel better too, where I'm at is like, so I'm on spring break. So I'm trying to just spend time like playing Elder Scrolls and doing my resume, or like improving my resume just to get a better like part-time job. And then also while I'm having resume stuff open. Basically, I'm trying to finish like 2 resumes this week if I can pull that off. So I want to have one that's like just general, like service, getting a side job resume, and then one that starts chipping at the game one, because there are some like internships and things that I'm like maybe not all the way qualified for, but you know, like I feel like I can at least throw my hat in the ring and see what happens, because it's like some stuff I definitely know how to do, you know. But anyway, like as far as creative projects, I also did the same thing where like I got really far on this one idea, which was like it was like this one I had met this person, and she like helped me like get some of my ideas out, and I said I was gonna do all these things, and I still just like haven't made those documents, you know. Like I think I just got really burnt out though with like work and stress, and so that's why the con was really good, because I like also like left my laptop at home and felt lost with my life, but also I feel like I got cleansed, you know, like spiritually cleansed.
Yeah.
But now I'm back to a point where it's like, okay, what do I need to start doing now? And like, there's always a million things, but it's the same way. I think what happened was just, like I said, I started taking on all these quests, and they just started to build up. And now I'm realizing like I had to just clear the list, figure out what I want to do, which quests I'm going on, you know. But so yeah, I'm like kind of stuck there too. I'm trying to figure out. I have the same problem, you know. It's like you have ideas, you've gotten a certain amount, and it's just trying to pick which one. I mean, in game design, we would say you just assess the risk and pick the one that has the least risks, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. That's
also deadlines too. I think we just need to get better at that. Like we set deadlines in our head. Deadlines. Like we set them. Like we know, you know, when you like that script thing, like that's what I think. You need to just pick a day, whether if you've done the work or haven't done the work, that it's just done, you know? Because that's where I'm sort of at with the rules of the game, or like this. I keep saying I'm going to write down the rules of this game, and I'm realizing now that it's like, oh, the rules are done. Like I keep feeling like there's more rules I need to write, but I don't know them, or even if I haven't written them yet. So the only thing that's going to really make me understand I should have written those rules down now is to make something playable, and then when everything goes wrong, I'll be like, shit, that should have been a rule, and then I'll write it down.
That's so smart.
Yeah, it's just like more painful than the other way of like thinking ahead of time, but thinking ahead of time is tough. Sometimes you gotta just go into the thing, or like set a deadline where it's like it's not done, and you know in your heart it's not done. That's fine, because you know that it's more about getting it done than it is about feeling good. You know?
Yeah. Well, what you just said made me realize that with the script, that like I was thinking, oh, I have a script, and then we'll go right into shooting it, and then that's the end, and then it can never change if I realize I want to add something. But why couldn't I do like a staged reading? Like, why couldn't I get some folks to like tell them to stand in certain places and see how it looks, and then add things? Why couldn't I do that? I could do like a test film.
Exactly. I feel like when things are about getting done, it's like that how we talked last time, where there's that triangle, you know, where it's like quality goes up and down. And like, yes, if you sat there forever, maybe you could write the best script of all time. But also, if you want to get it done, you can't realistically take that much time. You know what I mean? So it's just like one of those things. Yeah. So I feel like it's just like I'm the same way. That's why I'm like I'm already needing to do the same things with like the game ideas. Because right now I basically have a bunch of ideas and a lot of stuff written down. So for me, it's more of I need to start pushing myself into making things. Like I've been playing this one card game that's really cool that local Portland indie gamer made called Tiny Swords. And it's really cool. And then I saw like some board games at the con, and so it basically just got in my head like I already have all these ideas in my head, but I keep getting hung up on like art and programming. And like if anything, it's like where I'm at actually in the process is now that I have rules and stuff down, I need to figure out the easiest way to make something playable, which is paper. That's the easiest thing to do, you know. And then figure out whether it's fun, what I need to tweak, and then once I've got that down, you know, after I've played it a couple of times on paper and discerned that it's even worth it, then I can be like, okay, let's figure out how to program this.
Cool. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna like storyboard, sketch it out, because I'm tired of thinking about camera technical stuff, and I'm tired of thinking about the words. So I think I want to see what it would look like on paper, and then like play it like a flip book, and then I can see if the words are working at the angles and stuff.
I'll also put myself out there and say I was thinking about working on like storyboarding, you know? So we could also try to get together more either in person or try to do it over Hangout too. But like I could try to do that too as well, where it's like look at the story, how you have it written down, and then move to the next step where you've already got the basic script, right? So then we just like start drawing out a little bit of like what you want it to look like, you know, and that way you have the storyboard and an idea of what you want it to look like. And then, like you said, none of this stuff is set in stone. It'll change later anyway.
Yeah. Like, and then once I know what I want, it's like a shot list. I've seen pictures of people on sets with like their drawing taped next to the camera so they can see if it matches what they wanted it to be. And then I could like just crumble the paper if I didn't like it, and it would be so satisfying.
Exactly. And if anything, I think it's important to, I think through this conversation, I'm realizing something important to remember is that it's like really coming to like grips as far as creative process, like with that, like not only like being ready for things to change, but like things are gonna change. Like it's not gonna be, whatever comes out isn't gonna be the script necessarily. Or the script is one of those things. Because writers, I feel like actually, when I've been on plays, they've worked pretty freaking hard to make sure the script stays. So, but even the script just like goes through so many drafts, right? And like, yeah, once you start filming, maybe you change your mind. You're like, that just doesn't look right. But that's the thing, is having all those ideas ready and written is how you just like move to the next step. You know?
Yeah,
like,
that's what I want to do. I don't want to waste time. I don't want to like, I want to use my expertise for learning the thing that I'm trying to learn. Like, that's what was getting in my way. I don't want to be like fixing the script while I'm trying to learn about the art of filmmaking. But like, I want to keep them as separate as I can. And of course, you know, they're the same thing. But I just like want to do all the learning over here on the one thing, and then focus on the other thing.
Yeah.
Yay, compartmentalization.
Yeah. It's funny because it's like how you were saying a second ago, which is what we want to do, you know? And that's why I think, yeah, that's what's so funny is about it. It's sometimes so hard because you're like, I have all of this stuff that I like want to do. Why do I have to focus on this one thing? When really in any one thing, yeah, there's like a bunch of stuff to do. So if you're like done with the script, then yeah, you're done with, or like not if you're done with it, but if you're finding you're not working on it, then stop working on it and yeah, move to the next thing that needs to be done. If you've got a big list, you know, and especially if you've like set a time limit, it's like, you know, you got to get it done by this other time limit too. So it's like, might as well.
Oh, I feel better.
Yay, feeling better.
Yeah, I mean, feeling better is a good part of it. I need to actually do the thing, not just feel better, but actually have something to show. But I like feeling better than not feeling better.
No, yeah. I mean, that's, I think, always going to be what comes down to when we have discussions, I feel like, is like, we just need to do it. Because, you know, you just need to do it. It's like, we just need to do it. That's the thing you need to do, is you need to just do it. But, hey, it's like a human being, it's like I said, human beings only have so much like memory, you know? And like in one way your brain actually literally never stops growing and it never stops learning. Like you literally can't do that. It's called neuroplasticity apparently. Like your brain can always learn something new, you know. It can always do it. If it gets shown a couple times, it's gonna keep doing it, you know. Like that's why 50-year-old people are able to program, even though everybody thinks it's sort of like the new 20-year-old thing to do. It's like anybody can learn how to do stuff like that because your brain can just like mold to do it. At the same time, in like the front of it or whatever, where you have like memory, it just gets rid of stuff, you know? It's like, I can put it back somewhere, but eventually it's just gonna like know that it should just do something and it's gonna forget, you know? And it's gonna be like, why is it so hard? And it's like, because you need to just do it. So I think that's why people have conversations. I
feel like I'm learning the same things that I have already known. I feel like over and over again, I'm like, you figured that shit out when you were like 20. Like, this is not new information. It's just like the doing it. Like, it's not new lessons for me, you know? Which is cool.
Because they never stop, yeah. It's always going to happen. So.
You what?
I said, oh, yeah, I just said, like, things like that, yeah. Like, you always have to keep learning, you know? You just always have to do it. So it's the same thing, yeah. It's like, I learned this a long time ago, and it's like, oh, yeah, I had to learn it again, you know? It's just like everything else. It's like, you forget, oh, yeah, that's right. You know? Just got to keep reminding yourself. And we're chipping away. We're getting closer than, especially when you think about where we were however long ago, you know? Yeah. Especially when we were like just coming up with like the ideas to do these things. It's like you're way further than you were there, you know? It's just like after you're past the milestones, your head stops to care about them. So yeah, I think it's good to just kind of remember every now and then.
Cool. Well, I'm going to go do the thing now because I'm really excited.
I'm going to try to do some things too, but I might play Elder Scrolls for too long. But I'm going to do
Happy spring break. I hope you enjoy your game playing and your resume development.
I will enjoy some of that.
When I'm back next week, maybe let's do some storyboarding in person. That'd be fun.
Yes. Yeah, that'll also pressure me if we do it like over this. Like, bang, boom, just tell me your ideas and draw them. Okay, that
Cool.
sounds exciting. We'll do
Sounds
that.
good. High
Matane. Bang.
five. Cool. See you soon.
Yeah.
Bye.